Well, after bloodbath and senseless carnage at Kabul airport, crowds are back outside the Kabul airport after twin blasts near airport rocked the city. Sea of humanity desperate to catch a flight out of Kabul. In spite of the terror attack and threats, people are swarming the streets of Kabul. Over 100 were killed, but clearly civilians fear something more than just terror. On your screens are two images. On the left hand are the heartbreaking visuals taken prior to the deadly attack. A massive crowd had gathered near the Hamid Karzai International Airport in spite of a terror alert. Over 100 were killed in the attack, remember. And on the right side of your screen will be the crowds returning, hoping to leave the city of chaos and terror. Afghanistan caretaker President Amrullah Saleh has blamed Pakistan and alleges that Taliban-ISIS link is behind the terror attack in Kabul. Taking to Twitter, Saleh said, evidence shows that ISIS-K cells have their roots in Taliban and Haqqani network in Kabul. Sharpening his attack, Saleh said that Taliban denying the link with ISIS is similar to Pakistan's denial on Quetta Shura. Remember, Quetta Shura was a terrorist organization comprising of Taliban and was based out of Pakistan's Quetta. Further hitting out at the Imran Khan government, Saleh said that Taliban have learned very well from the master. Meanwhile, a United Nations Security Council report has hinted at a link between ISIS-K and ISI-backed Haqqani. In fact, reports say that there is a tactical deal between ISIS-K and Haqqani, and a terror attack benefits both the terror groups.
I listened to President Biden's press conference yesterday, and it was almost surreal. He calls the Taliban bad guys, but he also admits to giving all the details of American nationals to the Taliban. He speaks of how the ISIS has taken responsibility, but one begs to ask the question, and one begs an answer from America as also the Taliban, who released ISIS Khorasan leaders from Afghan prisons, who allowed the release of ISIS Khorasan leaders from those prisons. The situation in Afghanistan, Akshita, is not just surreal, it's an absolute nightmare when it comes to security situation. Nobody has a handle of things nobody has a handle of the security situation on the ground. The forces over there have been left to their own devices. People who are trying to get out of Afghanistan, whether if they're foreign nationals or Afghans.
So who then are the ISIS-K? My colleague Akshita Nandgopal explains. Take a look.
The ISIS-K has claimed responsibility for the terror strike in Kabul. And let's get you details of exactly who this terror group is. It's a regional affiliate of the ISIS terror group called ISIS Khorasan. It's active in Afghanistan as well as Pakistan. This terror outfit was formed a few years back in 2014. So as I mentioned, it's known as the Islamic State Khorasan province. Khorasan is the name that was earlier used for Afghanistan. Parts of Middle East, Central Asia came under Khorasan. It's an extreme, violent terror group that's based in Afghanistan and has perpetrated many such terror attacks before. It recruits from both Afghanistan and Pakistan. The leadership of the ISIS Khorasan is essentially former Afghan Taliban and former Pakistan Taliban members.
Well, at least 2 explosions were reported near Kabul's airport amid a huge and chaotic evacuation effort that is ongoing from Afghanistan. At least 90 Afghans are dead and 150 are injured. 13 US troops are also dead in this attack. India Today's Naveed Sultani reports from the streets of Kabul, bringing you this hair-raising report.
Death, despair, and chaos. Hours after intelligence alerts warned of a terror attack, 2 bomb explosions rocked the Afghanistan capital on Thursday. The first blast took place at the Abbey Gate of the Hamid Karzai International Airport. The cloud of smoke above the airport could be seen from far away. Moments later, as the first images started trickling in, the real extent of the damage became clear. There were casualties, many of them. Even as injured were being ferried to the nearest hospital for treatment.
I'm good now to hospital on the way. You see in the photo, in a video, the people are killed in this explosion to the airport area. Now I'm on the way, go to the emergency hospital, to the Kabul emergency hospital.
Came another blast. This one near the Baron Hotel that is housing British troops.
It was time for the evening prayer when an explosion happened near the airport. I saw about 70 vehicles carried around 150 injured to the hospital. People were stranded at the airport gate for evacuation when the blast happened. The ambulances are carrying the injured and dead. My cousin was also wounded on his leg, so we brought him to the hospital.
The Taliban has called the bombings, the first after it took over Kabul, a terrorist attack. The Islamic State Khorasan has claimed responsibility for the terror attacks. The early indications suggest that it was a suicide attack. Pentagon has confirmed the US too has suffered casualties. Children and women were among those who lost their lives.
This guy is injured in this explosions. You see, I want to go to hospital in my car. This is my car, and this guy is injured in the explosion today in airport area. There is not a place for some injured and killed people. I want to travel and displace these injured people to other hospital.
What was feared is now becoming a reality.
A lot of injured people, they are civilian, they came to a hospital, they're emergency, and they don't have a good health.
In an Afghanistan where several players are jostling for power, terror is having an easy run. Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, the Taliban has blamed the ISIS for the airport suicide attacks and vows to strictly stop what they called evil circles. They have even put the blame of the attack on USA, saying that their security was their responsibility. Here's more.
Piles of bodies all around. The war is over, but Afghanistan continues to bleed. Serial blasts rock capital Kabul, leaving scores dead. The Islamic State, or ISIS, lost no time in claiming the bombings in the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, established by the Taliban using terror. Irony, just died 1,000 deaths. The Taliban, that has a reputation of killing women, executing dissenters, has come out strongly against terror, condemning the Kabul attack. The Islamist hardliners claimed they had provided information to the US about the possible attack. Taliban spokesperson Zabiullah Mujahid said his organization will not allow terrorists to use Afghanistan as a base for their operations. The Taliban has declared it will take every step to bring the culprits to justice. It also sought to put the blame at American doorsteps, saying that the explosions took place in an area where US forces are responsible for security.
Targeting innocent civilians is an act of terrorism that has to be condemned by the entire world. And as soon as the airport situation is figured out and the foreign forces leave, hopefully we will not have such attacks anymore.
20 years after the World Trade Center terror attacks, the terror wheel has turned the full circle. If the Al-Qaeda hosted by the Taliban launched the dastardly kamikaze bombings on the US then, Today, another terror group hosted by the same Taliban has carried out suicide bombings on their own soil. Bureau Report, India Today.
But at least 90 people were killed and over 150 were injured in two explosions that rocked Kabul on Thursday. 13 US soldiers, including 11 Marines and a Navy medic, were among those killed. India Today has accessed exclusive satellite images of the Hamid Karzai Airport. Take a look.
Moments before Thursday's suicide attack, that is what Kabul's Hamid Karzai Airport looked like. A few planes were parked on the military side. That is now under the control of the Taliban. At the Abbey Gate, where the first of the two explosions took place, scores of people and cars lined the streets. A long line of Afghans, especially near the wall of the airport. An even closer look shows the area around the Abbey Gate teeming with locals desperate to flee Afghanistan. This despite an intel warning by at least 4 countries that warned of a terror attack at the airport. At least 11 aircraft were parked on the tarmac. It is not clear if there's been any damage to them. Moments later, at 7:15 p.m. India time, an explosion ripped across the Abbey Gate. With Ankit Kumar, Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, world leaders continue to react to explosions outside the Kabul airport. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson chaired an emergency response meeting today on the situation in Afghanistan. Johnson has condemned the attack and said the military was aware of the security threats. He further said that the government is going to continue its evacuation operation till the very last moment. Meanwhile, Germany, the country that has successfully pulled out all its soldiers from Afghanistan, has completed its evacuation operations from Kabul airport. Chancellor Angela Merkel has cancelled a planned trip to Israel on the 28th to the 30th of August due to the prevalent situation there. French President Emmanuel Macron has offered full support to its American allies. United Nations UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has condemned the terrorist attack at the Kabul airport, saying that the incident underscores the volatility of the situation on the ground in Afghanistan.
What this attack shows is the importance of continuing that work in as fast and as efficient a manner as possible in the hours that remain to us, and that's what we're going to do. Well, I've just chaired a COBRA, and the conclusion is that we're able to continue with the programme in the way that we've been running it according to the timetable that we've got.
We have seen in this attack that the risk is immense, and this is a critical situation under which forces are trying to get the people evacuated to maintain the air bridge. We have ended the air bridge and we are in urgent discussions with the Taliban on how we can make further evacuations possible. We will not forget those people who could not rescued by the air bridge. Rather, we will do everything we can enable their evacuation.
Australia condemns the evil, the calculated and inhuman attacks that were undertaken in Kabul overnight. Australia's operations now for the evacuation have been completed. We were able to ensure the departure of the remaining Australian personnel over the course of last night, not that long before the terrible events that unfolded last night took place.
First of all, I'd like to express in the strongest possible way my total condemnation about the horrific terrorist attack in Kabul. To send my condolences to the families of all those that perished, Afghans, and those that were helping there, the Afghans, and died serving the lives of others. I have also asked my special representative to convey directly to Kabul my deep condolences to the Afghan people.